Hello, class 8 students. We have seen that both the marriages, it was decided that both the marriages would take place on the same day, and the mood was very happy. But all of a sudden, the mood changed into sadness because a messenger came and gave a letter from Antonio, where it was written that Antonio's ships were lost at sea. The date of repayment was gone, and Antonio's life was at risk. Portia said that to save his friend, to take all her money, but to get married so that Bassanio has the legal right to her money. The rate of repayment being passed, the cruel Jew would not accept of the money which Bassanio offered him, but insisted upon having a pound of Antonio's flesh. A day was appointed to try the shocking case before the Duke of Venice, and Bassanio awaited in dreadful suspense the event of the trial. So, Bassanio went and told Shylock that, Shylock, I have the money with me. Now you take the money. But Shylock said, no, I cannot take the money. Okay, I already said that I'm not going to take any interest for this. Whatever I have written in the bond that I will take a pound of flesh, I'll take a pound of flesh. And there's, I won't accept anything other than that. So, everybody awaited the shocking. Yes, it was very shocking. And the case was going to be tried before the Duke, heard before the Duke. When Portia parted with her husband, she spoke cheerily to him and bade him bring his dear friend along with him when he returned. So Portia said that I want that you will bring Antonio along with you when you return. Yet she feared it would go hard with Antonio, and when she was left alone, she began to think and consider within herself if she could by any means be instrumental in saving the life of her dear Bassanio's friend. So Portia started thinking that if she could do something to save Antonio's life. And notwithstanding, when she wished to honor her Bassanio, she had said to him with such meek and wife-like grace that she would submit in all things to be governed by his superior wisdom. Yet, being now called forth into action by the peril means danger, of her honored husband's friend, she did nothing doubt her own powers, and by the sole guidance of her own true and perfect judgment, at once resolved to go herself to Venice and speak in Antonio's defense. It says that though Portia had said that she would be governed and she would always abide by the words of Bassanio, but since Antonio's life was in danger, she thought that she just couldn't sit there and let things go out of hand, and she became determined that she would go to Venice and try and speak in Antonio's defense. Speak in Antonio means become the defense lawyer of Antonio. Portia had a relation who was a counselor. Counselor means a lawyer, an advocate, counselor in the law. To this gentleman, whose name was Bellario, she wrote, and stating the case to him, desired his opinion, and that with his advice he would also send her the dress worn by a counselor. When the messenger returned, he brought letters from Bellario of advice how to proceed, and also everything necessary for her equipment. So, and as soon as she thought that she would speak in Antonio's defense, she wrote a letter to Bellario, who was a relative of hers, but that person was also an advocate, that is a person, a lawyer. So she stated the case, and she asked for the advice, and not only that, she also said that along with the reply, please send the clothes of a lawyer. And as she said, her relative did exactly that. Portia dressed herself and her maid in men's apparel, and putting on her robes of a counselor, she took Nerissa along with her as a clerk. So she took Nerissa also along with her as a clerk, and she disguised herself as a male lawyer. Setting out immediately, they arrived at Venice on the very day of the trial. So they arrived at the day of the trial. The cause was just going to be heard before the Duke and the senators of Venice in the Senate House when Portia entered this High Court of Justice and presented a letter from Bellario, in which that learned counselor wrote to the Duke saying that he would have come himself to plead for Antonio, but he was prevented by sickness, and he requested that the learned young Dr. Balthazar, so she took the name of Balthazar, might be permitted to plead in his state. This the Duke granted, much wondering at the youthful appearance of the stranger, who was prettily disguised by her counselor's robe and her large wig. So she was wearing the dress of a counselor, and she had put on a large wig, so nobody could recognize her. And when she went to the court, she took the letter from Bellario, which stated, she gave it to the Duke, and it was written that Bellario would have come himself and spoke in defense of Antonio, but since he was sick, he had sent this young Dr. Balthazar to do the work on his behalf. We stop here today. We will do the rest of it in the next class. Thank you.